Alright, welcome to Cobalt Black Gaming, the channel where I play a different game every day to show you those hidden and not so hidden indie gems. Today, I have a treat for y'all. I was checking my email, as I do for the channel, and a dev reached out to me. It was like, hey, I've been making this game as more of a hobby, and it's slowly becoming something more real. I think it would be something that your channel might enjoy. You know, would you want to check it out? And at first, I was like, I don't know. And I am so happy that I did end up checking out this game. So this game is in very early beta. You know, it's beta version 0.1.32. However, there is a somewhat concrete, roadmap laid out, at least for the areas. So you can pretty much come into this map and see where the progress is for things. You know, in 0.2, another area will be added. 0.4, another area as well. To quite a few areas. I think it's 5 down here and like 5, yeah, I think it's about 10 areas total are planned. But for right now, we just have the one, and I think that's going to be the case up through early access and things. Through some back and forth with the dev, I do understand there are quite a few more features that are going to be implemented into the game. I can't really go into depth on those right now, but the game will gain some complexity. But for right now, you have 5 classes. Now, 2 of these classes are at further development stages than the others, which is the Mage and the Cleric. The Mage has a really cool mechanic where you can switch the element the Mage is using. So it has fire, ice, and lightning. And then the Cleric has a subclass that you get after beating the first boss, Prometheus. The subclass is Paladin, and it is Cleric with extra steps. It basically takes the Cleric and adds auras to it. Like a Paladin would have, if you've played World of Warcraft, Retribution Aura, Protection Aura, that kind of good stuff. So today, we're going to be coming in here, and I think I'm going to be playing the Mage. So in one more run, this game is an ARPG mixed with survivor-like and twin-stick shooter elements. It actually can be controlled like a twin-stick shooter. I control it with auto-aiming and auto-fire, because I'm kind of coming at this from the survivor-like standpoint, but in the options, you can kind of change it to play however you like. One cool thing about this game is you have gear, okay? So each class can equip 4 slots of gear, and gear it's much like gear is in a lot of things, but you can also craft on it. So gear has a quality, so this gear is high quality. I can upgrade that quality, and that will increase the numbers of the stats. So we got 2 upgrades on that. It's now pristine. That's pretty good. Okay, that's pretty good. But you have to watch it when you're crafting. I have 4 attempts on this. Now I only have 3. I'm going to come in here and add a suffix. So the suffixes are purple, the prefixes are blue. The prefixes are usually kind of flat stats, like health pickup bonus or projectile size and things like that. The suffixes can be flat stats. So in this case, it's mana, but it's usually either related to your class or your very base attributes. So we get more mana on this, which is, I believe, mage specific. And we are going to come over here and we are going to add another suffix. So we added upgrade rerolls. Not really the suffix I would have wanted to add, but that's okay. Armor pen. Decent suffix. I'm not going to complain about it. And we have one more craft, but the last craft failed. They all have a percentage to fail or succeed. So this is, I'm probably not going to wear this, but you can craft, and this is kind of how the crafting system works. There are advanced crafts. Now, there's a forge once you get into the level, which was a really cool feature because you do a little quest to unlock this forge. And when you do unlock it, you have it unlocked for every run after that. And the cool part about that is you can do 0 to hero runs where you start with a fresh save, you unlock the forge in the run, and you can craft and upgrade your gear in the run. So you can start and never have to leave. Each class also has a skill tree. So we come in here to see the skill trees. You have minor nodes, major nodes, and capstone nodes. Capstones aren't included in the game yet, but you have your major nodes. So this is more defensive. This is more offensive. And then we have this up here, which is even more offensive. It's kind of crit focused. And that's what I went with, Elemental Attunement. But you also have other things, so elemental power, so elemental damage multiplier is increased. That's huge, because everything I do is element. on the mage. This gives us flat mana boost. I really just went up here to get this. I don't really care about the mana that much, but that's a whole different story. And then Arcane Shield, barrier on cast. This is kind of really important for the mage because the mage is squishy, as you might imagine. But we're going to head on in here and we're going to start a run. So this is what the area looks like at the beginning of a run. And I'm going to switch my element to electricity right off rip because I find electricity is easier to deal with enemies, hordes of enemies. So as I was talking about the forge, here it is. So if I were to start a fresh run and do the quest for this, it'll unlock it. And in unlocking it, I get to craft in the level. So I could come over here and craft. I can't really do that because these are all done, but I could if I wanted to. So we're going to come over here, and this is a level up. On level up, you get an attribute point or multiple, depending on what level you're at. As you increase in level, you get more attribute points you can spend, and an upgrade. Your upgrades are just that. They are usually a little bit more involved, whereas your attribute points are very simple. So we're going to go XP magnet. I always try to rush XP magnet and move speed depending on the gear I have equipped, just to make sure I can kind of actually, I don't know, be getting all of the XP I'm earning. Because there is no larger like magnet pickup that sucks in the whole map's XP. It's not that kind of game. So you can end up having quite a problem. However, I have a boatload of move speed on this character, so I'm just going to try to amass my strength. I shouldn't have smacked that dude in the face twice because I took a lot of damage for it. We're actually going to switch to ice. I think ice is better when you're just starting out. Ice is also very good at dealing with things. So for each mana you would gain while at maximum mana, you instead gain 3 barrier. Mana barrier, very good. Sap and corrosion, also very good. This is going to weaken my enemies because I have corrosive on one of my armor slots. Corrosive is not something you can get in any other way other than your armor. So you can get it on every single class, and it can be very useful. We're gonna go damage, actually. I know I just said I rush move speed and XP, but I kind of want to make sure that I'm one-shotting these guys. Make sure they go away, right? And I'm still not one-shotting them, but that's okay. All right, projectile duration. That's pretty good because I'm going to try for a Chain Lightning build. It's kind of my favorite mage build. But we're going to go with Barrage. So attack fires 3 shots in rapid succession at the cost of 50% attack speed. I believe it is a little bit less with Chain Lightning because of, well, the chain of it all, but we should still be fine. We're going to get some more XP magnet, and we're going to come back in here. Yeah, see, there we go. Now we're shooting. So we come, well, I got sucked in here. We're gonna do that. Okay, so now we have effect radius, pierce, and elemental damage. We're gonna go elemental damage, obviously, as that is what we do. We're gonna come in here, though. This is a small augment array. Small augment arrays are very useful in this game. So you can either dismantle and salvage components. This is how you get gear in the very beginning. You get gear from defeating bosses, breaking structures, and all sorts of other things, but you can get gear from this method as well. However, I'm going to do reroute internal power to the array. And if I succeed on this, success, cool. So it does do a dice roll, and you can fail. You can also critical succeed and critical fail. A critical failure does damage to you. It sucks. But we succeeded. So 100% XP to next level, so we just get a level immediately. And I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to get my XP magnet up 1. We're going to start putting a little bit into armor. We do need armor. We're going to go with Forking Bullet as well. Forking Bullets is when a bullet hits an enemy, it splits into smaller projectiles that continue in different directions. So we're getting as splitty as we can here with Chain Lightning, right? So this hammer is what you want to pick up to complete the quest to open the forge that I showed you guys at the very beginning. There is a quest that is not just default open at the beginning of your playthrough. It is always somewhere around here, but it could be in a different spot. Not quite exactly here. This does have a persistent map. This is not procedurally generated or anything like that. We are going to add a projectile count. Pierce is one thing. Yeah, no, we're going to add projectile amount. And we are going to come in here and do damage. We are mage after all. Blast cannon is the way to go. Now we're starting to get those chains. You see, I just fried that whole village at once. To give you guys a bit of a size scale for this game, that village is like a normal town size, and you're an 80-foot tall mech. Which actually ends up being kind of comical. So if you look at the capsule art, so it's the thumbnail for this video, or just the capsule art over on Steam, it's very funny because you realize that in the corner is a watchtower of regular people, and they are at like the head level of your robot, and your robot is massive. Which means these flowers are massive. These are like 80-foot tall sunflowers. It's terrifying. I love it. This is some very strange post-apocalyptic shit, and I'm down for all of it. Anyways, so part of the name of the game very early is amassing power, okay? It's, you know, like you would in any survivor-like, but I think it's a little more mandatory in this game because you can just get straight up destroyed, okay? We're going to do that. Another cool feature, if you look in the right under the map, so over here, it says Core Sentinel, and there's a bar filling up. That is your enemy's research. So right now, they just start with chargers, tanks, and whatever these little dudes are named. I forget what they're called. But they're little dudes that are hitting me, and I'm destroying them. Well, the enemy's researching more units to mess you up. And so it kind of provides a sense of urgency of like you want to move quickly to amass your power and get to doing stuff so that the enemy doesn't have a chance to research everything. There's actually a leaderboard for, you know, doing the fastest boss clears and things like that in this game, which is pretty cool. I am not up there. As you're going to watch and see, I'm not that amazing at this game, but I do love playing it. So, yeah, right now they're researching Core Sentinels, which I really wish they weren't. Core Sentinels are like the bane of my existence in this game. I hate them. They kind of slow you. Their damage seems to go through certain shields. They're just really strong. And I fear them. And I'm okay admitting that. All right, let's see if we can get a win here. Oh, failure. Okay. So 50% XP to next level. That's fine. We didn't critical fail, right? So we're doing okay. We're going to increase the crit chance, though. And that is because I need that damage. And now, as you see, Chain Lightning is basically just an EXP vacuum for us. We just kind of get near a bunch of enemies, and it just destroys them. And then sucks in all the EXP. So this is a enemy town kind of settlement thing. We'll deal with that in a moment. I just kind of ran myself into something scary, so we're gonna... I didn't realize there were this many enemies over here. There we go. Give me all your health and XP. We're gonna go Sapping Corrosion. So this is what I was talking about before. It is going to weaken the damage. It's gonna give damage reduction to enemies as I hit them. So if they live through my first hit, which these guys aren't currently, but there will be enemies later that will, they'll do less damage to me, which is very useful for someone as squish as I am. Okay, so that town. Very strong. Okay, Vitality Barrier. 100% of excess life gain is transferred to Barrier. I don't actually have a high barrier like max, so I don't know if that's actually the smartest thing for me to do. We're going to go more Sapping Corrosion. We're going to come over here. So I switched to Fire because Fire on the mage is a lot more bang for your buck when you're talking about bosses or very strong single targets. It's a lot of explosion damage and a lot of pain to your enemies. We're just gonna work on maximizing this crit damage or crit chance here, and then we'll go for crit damage. Okay, so that area is destroyed and taken over. And that is kind of one of the spawn areas for some of the enemies, and it is what you work towards to getting the first boss to spawn. I don't actually know if it's a spawn area. I'm sorry, I take that back. That might be incorrect. But it is what I'm working towards to get the boss to spawn. So I haven't gone rarity, and that is because I have equipment that gives me rarity on levels, so I can kind of use this as a dump stat and not really care about it. And we're gonna just start dumping everything into damage. Okay? We're gonna go reckless attacks. Get that cooldown even shorter. And as you see, as we're clearing out more and more things, we're starting to get gear of our own, which is very nice. So, another big thing I'm going to start doing is going after these caves here. See how they're spawning enemies? A, I don't like that, but B, if you kill a certain amount of them, I believe it decreases the enemy spawn rate. However, that's not why I'm going after them. I'm going after them because if you kill a certain amount of them, it spawns a boss. So yeah, you saw all those explosions and then you just saw nothing. That is the power of fire on the mage. It is very good for those single targets, those big single targets that you just want gone. It handles that. It says okay. Which is kind of what I rely on, because basically when I do a build like this, the lightning is what I'm doing to mob clear. The fire is what I do to destroy bosses. Okay, so we're gonna go crit damage. We should be critting almost every shot now, which is cool. Alright, so these are the core sentinels. You can tell because they start making this weird little wind-up sound, and when that happens, I generally break down and cry, but, you know, maybe don't do that. Maybe do something else. So this is going to kill my effect radius, but it is going to give me much more damage multiplier, so we're going to go with it. We're going to come here, and we're going to see if we can get some XP. There we go. Success. There's also something in this game called Chaos, and it'll sometimes, those close to kind of crits, it'll just boost them up even further and be like, no, it is just a crit. Okay, so we now get mana per hit. That's really good for us. We're going to put some more into armor. I still am susceptible to being, maybe not one shot, but I can be hurt quite a bit, and we don't like that. Okay, that core sentinel was about to do its thing, and I don't want to know what happens when they hit me on the mage. They're really bad when I play cleric. Like, I hate them on cleric. On mage, it's like, I usually destroy them before they see me, or they get their attack off. Cleric does significantly less damage, as you would imagine, because, you know, it's a tanky class. Okay, we're going to increase the armor there, and we're going to go even more into damage. Okay. That was actually getting kind of hairy. They were taking quite a bit of my power, of my health, really. Yeah, we want to stay around these big spawns of enemies, though. It's kind of hard to tell that there are a lot of enemies spawning, because I'm getting rid of them so fast, but trust me when I say there are. Okay, so this increases the damage per chain hit. We're gonna do that. I was conflicted because I kind of want to do more sap and corrosion. That really is a big part of me keeping myself alive on mage. And actually, you know, the dev can probably speak to this better than I can. So I don't know if it is. To me, I think it is, but it's like, yeah, maybe reducing the damage they're doing doesn't really matter that much. It matters if they live, and the thing is, on Mage, they're not living, so I guess sapping corrosion might not be the most necessary thing. I want to activate one of the bosses, but I am so scared. It's one of the new bosses the dev has just added to the game, and she is tanky. Okay, and that was 50%. Alright, effect radius, projectile size. We're gonna go with effect radius. I get that to 30. I keep increasing that. Okay, we hear that roar in the background. That is what might spawn from me killing all these caves. I need to stop failing these. But we do go concentrated effect. Yeah, we'll go 85 on it. Okay, now we got the Alpha Charger spawning in. So it's one of those bear things, but it's the big one. He'll come at me in a second. He's taking his time. He's shy. See, there he goes. Ow. Yeah, so fire does its job very quickly. And you might be like, that was a boss? What gives? It's because I have just tried to make something truly devastating, okay? I am sitting here trying to become a minor deity. All right, this is not... Any other class, I don't think could do what I just did. Maybe they could. Again, that is something up for discussion with the dev and not myself. I wouldn't know, but I don't know. I feel like Mage is pretty awesome when you get to do stuff like that. Let's just go elemental damage, actually. We'll go crit chance later. We're at 100% crit chance. I think you can over crit. It's either you can over crit or it just gets turned into crit damage. I forget which. I play a lot of games, and so sometimes, especially with critting, I forget the scheme of how it works in a lot of games. Sometimes you can overcrit, sometimes it just gets turned to crit damage, sometimes it just turns into a dead stat, and it's like, why are you still putting stuff into it? And I just never know. Alright. Yeah, we're looking pretty good. I wish I had more things that would allow my chain lightning to fork and or chain better, because I've been reducing the effect radius and things like that. That's okay. We are mostly just killing right now to get levels. Alright, I think 40 armor should be enough. I just don't want to get insta-killed before I insta-kill someone else. Right? That's mainly what armor is for in this game on Mage. This is truly the best defense is a good offense class, and you have a mighty fine offense. Wait, let's see how ice is working. Feels good. What I really need, there's an upgrade I need to make chain lightning work better. An upgrade called Aftershock. It makes there's a secondary explosion after you hit something. Imagine that would be quite powerful. God, all of these snipers are making me unhappy. There we go. We just killed a bunch of them. So yeah, we're just going to amass some power here, get a little bit stronger. Yeah, let's go. I want to go over cap, but we keep getting elemental damage, and that's just huge for us. All right, we have 100 attack. I'm going to start putting a little bit into rarity, because I want it to grow faster and more. All right, we are going to go and spawn another boss because I want to. And I kind of want to show you guys all the bosses if I can. If I can. Thing is, I might just die. There's always that option. Not an option I'm choosing, but I am a mage. Therefore, I am very squishy. And so sometimes it sneaks up on you. That's kind of how my mage runs go. I'm fine 1 second and I'm completely dead the next. That is how it goes. And I would say if I was maining any class in this, it would be the Cleric. So like I'm 100% on the opposite of the spectrum usually. So what'll happen a lot with mage and me is I'm like, I can go in there and take that on. I do a lot of damage. Now, once you do a lot of damage on the Cleric, you're also probably extremely tanky, so like you can kind of do whatever you want. On the mage, that's not always the case. Okay, we're gonna slowly hook the hive down here. So down here is where all the bugs live. The bugs are angry little bastards. The bugs have a propensity for killing you if you attack their hive. And they do it very rapidly. It is a horde enemy, so they just swarm you and you're done. Jeez, I need a lot more chain lightning. Like, these enemies are amassing. This is a little dangerous. Oh boy. I don't want to be anywhere I just was. Okay, critical chance. What happens when I increase projectile size with chain lightning? Just make thicker lightning? We're gonna go down one. I'm searching for that aftershock, so... But we are critting every hit now, so that is quite the boon to our damage. So crit damage is going to become imperative. Nope, don't want to get hit by the snipers. That is the other thing. So those enemies that were researched, they're not always the same. So if you get a map with rail snipers, the new deal for you is never stop moving. If you get a map with core sentinels, the deal is stop long enough that they're dead. You get a map with both, like I have, maybe Cry? I don't know. Do whatever you feel like. You're probably not going to last long anyways. I know I'm not. And those are the core sentinel bullets, those green things moving towards me at an alarming rate. I don't know quite what those actually do. I just have never had good experiences once they're shot at me. There are a lot of snipers right now, and I'm trying to get through the rest of the horde to them. This is why we don't like core sentinels. They slow you and deal massive amounts of damage. But it's the slow is the bad part, because the things that deal even more damage can be a problem. Okay, Vitality Barrier, no. We're gonna go with Pierce. And we're gonna go with more Rarity, seeing as it paid off the first time. The reason I didn't go with Vitality Barrier is it lets you convert health into barrier, but it's not going to increase the maximum amount of barrier I can get, and it would just eat up the health hearts when I touch them, which I don't want to do. I mean, I guess they already just get eaten up when you touch them, so it doesn't really matter. That was probably a mistake on my part, but big braining is not really what I do. I wanted to see how well that would work. The answer was not amazingly. That's okay, though. Yeah, we are kind of caught between a rock and a hard place right now. I need to get more power, but the enemy has quite a bit of power, and so I'm afraid to do things I should be doing. Except I forget I do that to buildings, so... You know. Maybe I don't need the most power. However, then the enemies do this to me, and now I'm afraid to be over here, right? Like... Very hit-and-run tactics is what I need to use as the mage. Other classes, not really. Like, if I were a cleric right now, I would just be waltzing through all this. Alright, we got more XP. We're gonna go for... We could go for projectile duration to get our chain lightning wider and longer. But I think the name of the game, really, at this point, is just stuff damage and hope. Oh, we missed a lot of XP back here. What happened? Do I have to increase my XP radius? I mean, I clearly do. I don't even know why I said that out loud. It was rhetorical, but, yeah, I don't know why I said that out loud. I clearly need to increase my XP radius. That's okay, though. That's not the biggest problem. Alright, we're gonna come down here, and we're gonna work on spawning the Hive Queen. Okay. Small augment array. 20. 10 respec points. We'll take those. Alright, what do we got? Chain lightning range increases, but the pierce just adds flat damage, which is pretty good. We are gonna go even more extensively into damage. And we're gonna leave. We've spawned a lot of bugs with our, I think what we just did would be defined as terrorism. I kind of just rolled in and blew up a bunch of houses, essentially. The bugs were just minding their own business, and I said, ew, no. You have too many legs. So that was the problem with the bugs. I don't know if anybody saw that and saw the reason why I'm running away. Once they start attacking, they put pools of poison on the ground that can do quite the damage. I need to move. Yeah, you can tell I'm not used to playing mage. I think the class is really cool. I am not used to the lack of survivability. Like, getting hit by one thing and having to run away feels wild to me. So I wanted to do the Hive Queen, but I think we're going to do Prometheus first. And there will be a reason for that. Okay, concentrated effect. That is a lot of damage. That's a huge damage increase. Projectile count, though, I think will go far for us. And we're going to go more armor. I'm really stressing defense at the moment. We're going to go handle Prometheus, I think. He's easier than the bugs. The bugs are rough. Because it's just such a massive horde. Not like that wasn't a lot of dudes, but... Okay. More levels. We take those. Critical damage. I think that's going to do more than elemental damage for us right now, so we're going to take it. Yeah. Yeah, I think... maybe. Critical damage multiplier... I don't actually know. I'd probably have to do some math, and that's not my strong suit, so we're not going to do that. And I'm going to run away. There he is. This is Prometheus. And yeah, that's why I built Mage the way I built Mage. He's already dead. He just doesn't know it yet. That was Omae wo mo shinderu. Immediately. Dog died, didn't even know it, was still trying to dialogue at me. But again, if I get hit, I die too. So yeah, you see why this class is the way it is. Very glass, very cannon. So, also, the soundtrack to this game is a complete fucking banger, okay? I was playing this game for the first couple times, and I hit the boss, and usually in games, I turn down the music a little bit, or just, like, my brain just kind of auto-tunes it out. Like, I'm just like, okay, I'm focusing, I'm not listening to the music. And I'm playing, and I'm like, why am I bobbing my head? What is going on? And then I realized, I was like, oh, this music is fucking awesome. All right, so I believe, because the horde, the hives are gone, so I believe I have completed the run, because Prometheus is dead. So we're gonna grab the rest of our gear, and we're gonna call it. But this has been a run of one more run. I'm gonna leave a link to the Steam page in the description, as well as a link to the devs YouTube, so you can see the devlogs for this game, and a link to this game's Discord. If you made it this far and enjoyed the video, a like and a sub would be very much so appreciated, as I'm trying to grow the channel right now and every little bit helps. Go check out one more run. The dev is definitely looking for feedback, obviously constructive criticism, guys, and I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Peace out.